Hello, it's Mr. Johnson here again, and I'll be working with you with this lesson. But first of all, we're going to look at the problem that I set you at the end of last lesson. Now, it was tricky, so I'm sure I'm going to be impressed with your understanding. So I said to you, I wanted to know what fraction of the whole was orange. Right, so when we look at this, the problem that we have is that the parts are not equal. So was there anything that we could do? When I look at the two pieces here, and I've got a small triangle. Now if I take that small triangle, I can fit it into that gap. Oh, is there something that I could do with the two smaller orange rectangles? That's right, I could put them together and make another part that is shaded. So now let's look at our sentence stem. So there are how many equal parts in the whole? There are 6 equal parts in the whole. How many parts are shaded? Well, now we can see that 3 parts are shaded. So altogether, we have got 3/6 is shaded. I will be really impressed if you got that, because that was tricky. So well done for trying that, and that was how we could have worked that out. So let's look at this image together that we've seen in previous lessons. What do you notice about the number of 6? Just something to think about. And let's have a go at trying to fill in the sentence stem together. So the whole has been divided into equal parts. So how many equal parts are in the whole? There are 6. So let's say that together now. The whole has been divided into 6 equal parts. The next part of our sentence stem. So, of the parts are shaded. How many parts are shaded? There are 5 of the parts shaded. So let's say that together. 5 of the parts are shaded. And our last part of our sentence stem, there are 5/1/6 shaded. Now we have the same image as before, but this time I would like you to have a go at writing down what this is as a fraction. So how would I write 5/1/6 as a fraction? Think about which numbers you would use and where you're going to place them in relation to the division bar. So have a try now, so pause the video and have a go. Now let's see if I agree with you. So the whole has been divided. So we would place our division bar. And the whole has been divided into 6 equal parts. So we would put our 6 underneath the division bar. And 5 of the parts are shaded. So that would go above the division bar, just like I've got here. So well done if you got that right. Now it's great being able to write some numbers down, but if you don't understand where the numbers have come from, then it's not going to help you in future lessons. So let's look at these numbers. First of all, what does the 6 represent? Why don't you quickly whisper to somebody what you think it means? That's right, the whole has been divided into 6 equal parts. So that's where the number 6 comes from. What about the 5? What does that represent? The 5 is the number of parts that are shaded. So altogether, this is 5/6 of the whole. Now let's look at this next image together, which is a circle. Let's look at our stem sentences and see if we can complete them. So the whole has been divided into equal parts. So what number would go in there? So let's now read it together and see if we can fill in that blank. So the whole has been divided into 3 equal parts. The next part of our stem sentence. So blank of the parts have been shaded. So let's say it together, filling in the blank. 2 of the parts have been shaded. So we can say there are 2 1/3. Now we have the same image again, but this time I want to know, how do we write 2 1/3 as a fraction? So the whole has been divided. So that tells us we need our division bar again. And it's been divided into 3 equal parts. So that means our 3 goes underneath our division bar. And 2 of the parts are shaded. So we can say that 2/3 of this shape has been shaded. So now I've got an activity I would like you to do. So this time I have got an image where some of the parts are shaded, and I would like you to fill in the sentence stem below and then try to write the fraction as well. So pause the video and have a go. So let's see how you've done. So this was the image that I have given you. The whole has been divided. So that means you should have done your division bar. So the whole has been divided into 5 equal parts. So the number 5 should have been put underneath the division bar. And 3 of the parts are shaded. So your 3 should be above the division bar. So that is 3/5 of the whole has been shaded. Well done. Now let's look at this problem together. So this time I've given you the image and I've given you the fraction. And we've got to try and fill in the missing numbers into our stem sentence. So let's look at the first part of our stem sentence. So the whole has been divided into blank equal parts. Let's look at our image. So our image shows that the whole has been divided into 2 equal parts. But let's look at our fraction. Oh, now they're both 2. So which of those 2's tells us that the whole has been divided into 2 equal parts? Quickly whisper to somebody and tell them. Right, it's the 2 underneath the division bar, because that tells us that the whole has been divided into 2 equal parts. Let's look at the next part of our stem sentence. So blank of the parts are shaded. How many parts are shaded? So if we look at our image, first of all, we can see that 2 of the parts are shaded. Now, which of those 2's tells us that 2 of the parts are shaded in our fraction? It's the 2 on top of the division bar, because that tells us that 2 of the parts are shaded. So that tells us altogether that 2/2 of the whole has been shaded. I now have another practice activity I'd like you to have a try at. So I have the written fraction, which is 3/4. And what I would like you to do is to draw your own whole to show 3/4 shaded. I want you to think about how many equal parts you will need to divide your whole into and how many parts will need to be shaded. So I'd like you to pause the video and have a try. So let's see how you've done. I'm going to show you some examples of what 3/4 could look like. It might not look exactly the same as yours, but they should have something that is the same. So here are my examples. That was 1, 2, and 3. What did your image look like? And let's look at this stem sentence and complete it. So 3/4 equals how many 1/4? So that would be 3 1/4. Let's think about these numbers in our fraction. What does the 4 represent? What does the 3 represent? Well, the 4 is how many equal parts the whole was divided into. So in your image, there should have been 4 equal parts. And what does the 3 represent? The 3 represented how many parts were shaded. Count how many you shaded in. Was it 3? Let's look at 3/4 again, but this time we've got a sentence stem that can help us. So the sentence stem tells us that the whole has been divided into 4 equal parts, so we can see the 4. And it also tells us that 3 of the parts are shaded, and we can see where the 3 is. So that is 3/4 of the whole. So let's look at my pictures and use our sentence stem just to make sure. So in our triangle, the whole was divided into 4 equal parts, and 3 of the parts are shaded, so that is 3/4 of the whole. Let's look at this image and check. So the whole has been divided into how many equal parts? 4 equal parts, and 3 of the parts are shaded, so that is 3/4 of the whole. And my final image, my whole was split into 4 equal parts, and 3 of the parts are shaded. So what's that fraction? That's right, it's 3/4. Now I want you to look at your image that you drew and use the sentence stem to check that it was right. Here is your challenge that you will need to have a try at before the start of the next lesson. So in this problem, a whole orange was shared between 2 children, and the plates show you how much of that orange each child got. So I would like to know, what fraction of the orange did Powell get, and what fraction of the orange did Dominica get? So good luck with this challenge, and remember, just keep practicing your skills. Goodbye.